Often people confuse advising for money management. You get to a point in your life and suddenly these things start getting a bit complicated. And that's when having someone like you to reach out to becomes very, very important.
You can figure a lot out there from ChatGPT and Google, but having someone know your situation and be able to give personalized advice, that's when I'm seeing people actually want a one-on-one advisor relationship.
On the other side, you also have the young clients, so investors. What are they like? What do they see?
I'm loving working with some of the younger generations, partially because I feel like it's such a relatable conversation to have. It's something I'm going through, or I've had friends or family go through something similar too.
What is your take on that? What are the operational challenges in the industry today, and how have they evolved perhaps in the 10 years that you've kind of experienced?
Technology is changing so fast. So definitely what was the biggest hurdle 5 or 10 years ago is certainly no longer the issue now. Definitely think coordinating technology is just kind of a natural hurdle in the industry on the independent side of things. Picking what tools you're using to do what and what data goes between them, and is it a manual effort to have to try to sync everything up?
I think I know the answer to this, Brittany, but if there was a magic wand and said there's one AI tool that would solve something that is a big pain point for you today, what would that be?
Oh, yeah, it would be onboarding for sure. Someone new comes to us, we're able to quickly get them fully into our platform. They don't have to do much of anything. Oh, that would be incredible.
Hi, Brittany. Welcome to Advisor Ally. Really excited to have you with us today. How are you doing?
All good here. Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Great. And how's the summer in Raleigh? Is it hot? Is it raining? What's going on?
Yes, and yes. It's been a hot summer. It's almost late July right now, and I'm ready for fall. I'm definitely not a North Carolina summer person, so sticking through it, but honestly, it hasn't been that bad.
Great. But, your reaction said it all. So I hope fall comes soon.
Me too.
So Brittany, I've shared this before with you. We love talking to advisors and folks in the ecosystem to learn a little bit about their journeys and what insights they might have to share with the broader audience. Excited to have you with us. And I think it's always good to start with where your journey started, right? And I know you've been in wealth management and at the same firm, for the entire career, which is amazing.
Yes.
And you've, gone through the steps, so to speak, right? Starting as an intern and obviously as a senior advisor today. So tell us a little bit about that journey.
Yeah, happy to walk you through my journey. Honestly, I feel like I got really lucky in a number of ways. So I was an undergrad at UNC-Chapel Hill studying math as my major, and I had no idea what I wanted to do. I think people always ask, do you want to be a teacher? And that was never really my goal, but I knew I loved working with people. Restaurant jobs were some of my favorite ones that I had in college, but I also really liked math and problem solving and numbers and kind of the black and white of being able to solve equations. And one summer in college, I grew up in Virginia, and a family friend worked at an Ameriprise office there, and they were looking for a summer intern. And I had no idea what Ameriprise was or what financial advising meant, but I was looking for a summer internship. And so I got the job really, and got to spend part-time hours every week for a summer, just helping at the front desk, but then also getting to see what financial advising was at that Ameriprise office. And I quickly realized, this is an amazing field where you get to work directly with people, definitely problem solving with numbers, but you can have a real impact on individual people's lives. Not to mention that the partner at that firm, that summer I was there, he was gone the whole time because he was hiking a trail in Spain. I was like, oh, amazing. Clearly some good work-life balance opportunities too. But really just kind of was surprised by how much I immediately liked it. Definitely didn't feel like I knew anything, coming in with a math background. Personal finance is a whole different world, but I saw the potential. And so I asked that office if they knew any companies around Chapel Hill that might also be looking for interns. And they connected me with Hilltop Wealth Advisors, where I currently am today. So I started at Hilltop as an intern when I was still in school at UNC. I worked there year round and did a summer there too. And that was a lot of fun and a lot of learning. Back then, we did plenty of like scanning paperwork and typing in notes. Technology has improved so much since then. So it was a lot of administrative tasks, but also getting to see really the behind the scenes of what financial advising could be. I graduated 10 years ago and came on full time as a paraplanner. Now we call that role associate advisor, but it meant that I was doing a lot of meeting prep, meeting follow up, helping open accounts, move money, place trades. I got some of my series licenses, but I was mostly working towards my CFP, which took that exam a few years into being at Hilltop full time. That was an amazing experience because having not studied personal finance, I didn't really feel like I had that foundation of knowledge coming into the industry. So that made me so much more confident. You learn so much going through that. And I feel like when I took that test, I was probably for at least a few months the smartest person in the office because I had been studying so much. But really, it was just kind of a slow and steady process of working my way up towards sitting in meetings, just observing, to getting to speak a little bit more and have a session to present when clients came in, to eventually having some of my own clients and now bringing on my own clients quite a bit, which is so much fun.
Incredible journey. And have you done that hike in Spain yet?
No, not yet. I think I have to make partner and then take a sabbatical.
I know. It'll happen soon, Brittany, I'm sure. But I think I caught on to a couple of things there. The fact that you like, engaging with people, which is maybe the biggest part of this job. And obviously, liking and understanding math makes a lot of sense. So math plus people skills. And I think it's very interesting that you've kind of gone through the rigor of, as starting as an intern, then as a paraplanner or an associate, as you would call it, you've seen it all. And I'm sure even as an advisor today, when you work with the larger team, some of those experiences really help you in kind of, collaborating better with them.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, it's such a huge industry that none of us can know everything. So having a collaborative environment where learning and mentorship is kind of the key piece of it, that just makes it such a more approachable place to work because, right, there's so much to know. There's so many unique client scenarios. Having people to ask questions to and bounce ideas off of, I feel like that's a huge part of why I have loved Hilltop for so long.
Right. I mean, you clearly love Hilltop, right? I mean, and which is great to see. You've been there for 10 years now, 10 plus years.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about Hilltop,
Yeah. So we are an independent firm in Chapel Hill. We've not always been independent. So before 2016, we were a franchise of Ameriprise. So I was 1 year into working there full time when we broke away and went independent. And that was a whole journey in itself. But now that we're this far into the other side of being independent, I can definitely say it was well worth that process of, really getting to define who we are and how we serve our clients, what tools and technology we use, and what services that we offer. So we've been independent for a little over 9 years now. We manage just around $600 million in assets, and we've got about 8 or 9 advisors on the team, although a handful of those are associate advisors. So still learning and training and growing. And really, we work with a wide range of types of clients. I personally work with a lot of our high income, young and mid-career professionals. So almost all of my clients are 20s, 30s, 40s, but we've got plenty of other types of people that we work with too. Lots of retirees. We've had some clients hit age 100. So truly all walks of life, which is a lot of fun. I know some firms narrow in a lot more on who they want to work with. And there's pros and cons to that, of course, but it's just neat to be able to experience and see clients going through so many different things.
No, that's interesting. And I think I was talking to another advisor, founder of a firm, very similar size as yours. He's retired now. And he said, one of the things that, they were able to do well was working with the same household, but across generations.
Yes.
And, you don't really need new clients if you can actually engage well with each generation and understand their requirements quite well.
Totally agree.
So, and I definitely want to get into the point that you made about working with young families and investors. But before that, the other thing that, that the big talking point in the industry these days is that there's expected to be a massive talent crunch of advisors, right? And you're one of the younger professionals who's gotten into this industry, and you love it. What are you seeing in terms of next gen advisors? Are a lot of people taking it up, or is there a challenge here?
Yeah. I feel like it's still largely a career that people don't talk enough about or seem aware enough that it's an option out there, especially for people in the minority, like women or people of color. It is such an amazing field that needs so much more diversity, but we still are only slowly seeing that evolve. I do know there's quite a few colleges now that offer financial planning programs, and I think that's amazing to be able to learn that in school and just have that be one of the options that you already have presented to pursue. That is key. But yeah, a lot of colleges, I know UNC, when I was there, I think there was a half semester class on personal finance, and that was it. So to know about it as a career path is still only somewhat lucky at this point. So I think us existing advisors definitely need to continue to support the even younger next gen advisors in really understanding what this career can be like, why it can be so rewarding. And there's so many different ways to be an advisor too. It can mean a lot more than just the experience that I've had. So yeah, I think we definitely need to keep encouraging people to get into the industry because it's just such a great field to be in.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think it's a lot of it, to your point, is about awareness and not knowing that something exciting like this exists. And I do agree with your point about personal finance should be made a mandatory course. I think everyone should have a good sense of, how to manage their own finances as well. And
Right.
It's something the education system should definitely look into. The other thing, which Brittany, the other side of the equation, right? Obviously, you're a young advisor, and hopefully there'll be more and more young advisors coming in. And but on the other side, you also have the young clients or investors, and you mentioned you're talking to a lot of them and working with a lot of them. What are they like? What do they seek advisors for in your experience? What's your
Yeah, I'm loving working with some of the younger generations, partially because I feel like it's such a relatable conversation to have. If it's something I'm going through, or I've had friends or family go through something similar too. But yeah, even someone in their 20s, 30s, 40s can face such a wide variety of challenges. I've helped clients think through, how do we balance, doing what we know we're supposed to, like saving for retirement or our kids' college, with the fact that we also want to enjoy life now and travel or invest in our business or our careers. How do we balance all those things we might want to accomplish while also buying a new home and starting a family and paying off our student loans? That's definitely something that comes up a lot. A lot of the people I work with are really well-educated graduate school students. And so they spend a lot of time in school, have some debt because of that, but have really good career and income potential as well. So balancing the debt pay down with the long-term planning with enjoying life now, I think that kind of sums it up in a nutshell. But of course, so many different industries out there. And there's also a ton of personal finance information available online. So I have found that people tend to come to me or actually want to hire an advisor when they feel like their situation is getting a little more nuanced and the general guidance available online just doesn't quite feel reassuring enough. You can figure a lot out there from ChatGPT and Google, but having someone know your situation and be able to give personalized advice, that's when I'm seeing people actually want a one-on-one advisor relationship.
And that makes a ton of sense. And many people have said this because often people confuse advising for money management, and it's not just money management that an advisor offers. And you get to a point in your life, and suddenly these things start getting a bit complicated.
Right.
And that's when having someone like you to reach out to, becomes very, very important. And you made a good point about so much information on the internet. Actually, one of the questions I had was, how are these folks different from the slightly older clients you might have? Because today there's too much information available on the internet as well, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So do they also come in with too many ideas, bubbling with ideas, challenging what the advisor is suggesting, or that's not been a big issue, really?
I could see it being a bigger issue than it has been. I know TikTok can give lots of financial advice and recommendations. And, I see clients ask questions sometimes about things that they probably saw on social media or YouTube, maybe. But largely, no, not as much as you'd think. And yeah, maybe that's a function of people leaning into some of the online resources, maybe aren't quite at the point yet where they are seeking out an advisor. That could be. That's a good question.
Right, right. And also the other side of this is, how this generation and maybe the generation after them becomes very important, given the massive wealth transfer that's happening as well, right? So I'm sure you're seeing a lot of that also bringing in conversations.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And maybe that's even the point, that you can get a lot of the information you need online in so many ways, but there eventually will be a life point change, transition where, yeah, maybe it's a parent passing away and you're inheriting money, or a equity payout from your company, some kind of sudden wealth event where suddenly the information online, you just feel like you need a little more credibility backing it because the dollar amounts suddenly got a little bit bigger.
Yeah, and someone who's, and what you said aligns with something someone else said, because like you might get a stock tip, say this is going to do well, but how much of that stock should you buy is also something that you need to decide.
Right.
Compared to what the rest of your portfolio and holdings look like. So there are several nuances. To your point, information is one thing, but making use of that information to your context is an entirely different thing. So let's switch lanes a little bit. Brittany, Hilltop obviously is a massive institution that you've been part of. You've also been associated with the FPA for a long time.
Yeah.
And I know you were the chapter president up until recently. Tell us a little bit about that experience. And I'm also very keen to understand, from your perspective, what value associations add to advisors. And
yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I'm probably a little biased because I haven't been so involved with the Financial Planning Association, but I joined the FPA, which is a national organization with regional chapters. I joined pretty much as soon as I started at Hilltop. So I've been a member of the FPA, the Triangle chapter, for many years now, but I didn't get involved and on the board until about 5 years ago. I joined as the education director back in 2020. And so I was helping submit some of the programs we had, the speakers we had coming in for CE purposes, so we could all get credit for those sessions. Because really what our chapter does is we've got bi-monthly meetings where we bring in speakers, have time for networking. It's really just an organization locally of people in the same industry, really getting to connect and hear how we are facing challenges or seeing success. And so whether it's learning or networking, we try to create a lot of events that give people the chance to connect. So we've always had these bi-monthly lunch meetings. We also have an annual all-day symposium event, which is like a mini conference just in the Raleigh area. And so I still am chapter president through the end of this year. I was chapter president last year too. And it's just been such a rewarding experience taking on that role. It has definitely had challenges. I've never led an organization before, but I feel like I have really grown both personally and professionally by stepping up and taking on that role. It was just kind of neat to think about the industry outside of just my job at Hilltop and think about, really bigger picture, like where is this industry headed? What do we need to be prioritizing and thinking about? And having some time to think on that bigger scale has been really interesting. But I would say whether I was on the board or not, the FPA has just been an amazing opportunity to make actual friends with people who are in the industry. So people I could call on if I ran into a question or a challenge. And of course, I have my coworkers at Hilltop to ask questions to too. But I think there's a lot to be said for getting differing opinions from people in different sides of the industry. So not just independent firms, but really getting to see how other people are approaching all of the challenges that we have in this day. So to me, the community aspect has been the biggest value add of being part of the FPA. But of course, the education component is probably number two too.
Right. And I think, I was just going to say that community is probably the biggest value add. Just knowing that there are other people who are doing something like you and who can help you when you're stuck or something, or exchange ideas. I think that's tremendous. Makes a lot of sense for an advisor to be part of, especially something as large as the FPA. Like you said, I think you were talking a little bit about trends in the industry, and maybe that's a good segue for the next question. And I'm particularly kind of interested to learn about your views on this, because you've seen the entire journey, right? Paraplanner to an advisor today. I mean, the industry is still so fragmented, and which leads to operational challenges in terms of, how do you sync multiple systems, who does what, what is your take on that? What are the operational challenges in the industry today, and how have they evolved perhaps in the 10 years that you've kind of experienced this?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And technology is changing so fast. So definitely what was the biggest hurdle 5 or 10 years ago is certainly no longer the issue now. And with an independent firm in particular, because we are able to pick and choose what technology we want to use, it definitely can be a bit more piecemeal of what we're using and does it all integrate together, and what does that mean for the client experience and the back office client service team at Hilltop. So I definitely think coordinating technology is just kind of a natural hurdle in the industry on the independent side of things. Yeah, picking what tools you're using to do what and what data goes between them, and is it a manual effort to have to try to sync everything up? That's definitely a piece of things, but I have seen technology improve so much over the past 10 years. I mean, yeah, when I started out, we were, again, doing a lot of scanning of the meeting notes that the advisors had written by hand when they had client meetings, and then that had to be uploaded and tasks had to be manually typed out. And nowadays, we are definitely, maybe there's still a few people writing meeting notes, but largely not doing that. Being able to type it, or even better, use an AI note taker that can automatically go in, and we might still be manually starting follow-up meeting tasks, but that's definitely not a necessary step either. We're definitely getting closer to having AI help us extract the actual action items from a meeting, for example. So I do think, yeah, one hurdle has just been piecing together all the parts of the process of talking with a client, from prep to in the meeting to follow up. But another thing that also stands out to me is the process of onboarding a new client. It's a very data intensive process. You want to really understand everything about the person that you're bringing on board. And so it inevitably involves a good bit of homework on the client side. And even with technological advancements, you can't get away from the fact that that new client is going to have to do XYZ to be able to provide you with their personal financial information. So I'd say those are two of the challenges that I have definitely seen still in this day in our industry.
Yeah, no, you're very consistent. Last time we spoke also, I remember you mentioned onboarding. So
still a challenge.
Still is, and it's only been a couple of months, so I think you guys have a little bit more time, Brittany. But I think meetings it's been a great use case for the adoption of technology, especially AI. And I think there's two aspects to it. It's not just the fact that it opens up several hours in the day for an advisor when you don't have to do that anymore. But I think there's another aspect to it that people also appreciate, the fact that you capture a lot more information that you otherwise never would. Right?
True.
It's impossible to like talk and type, or capture or type after the meeting's over.
Yeah, and it's such a personalized industry that obviously you inherently need to know that person's goals and what they're concerned about. But then when you're also able to remember, because you have notes already written about it, about who their kids are and what their grandchildren activities are and what happened with their pet last month or vacations they've been on, it just can absorb those small personal details that you might not have jotted down, but make the relationship that much deeper.
Right, right, right. No, absolutely. And I think can think, ask the right questions, learn more. But beside meetings, I mean, are there other areas where you or the firm are looking at AI as well? Any use cases that stand out as potentially interesting? I mean, and it could
Yeah.
be AI or technology in general.
Hmm. Yeah, we're probably not trying to be ahead of the curve when it comes to implementing new technology. So using the AI note takers is really what we've been focusing on in the past year or two, but we're now about to start using a new client relationship manager tool that will integrate more seamlessly with our note taker tool. So being able to not just capture the notes, but have that in more of our systems, tracking data, putting in tasks. That's not something that we have actually been doing, but we are hopefully in the next year going to be way more efficient with that. Yeah, that is mostly what we focused on.
And I think that's a similar journey that many other advisors and RIAs are going through as well. I think this is a great use case to get started, and then slowly start exploring areas like onboarding, prospecting, etc. And I think one step at a
Mm-hmm.
time.
Yeah.
I think I know the answer to this, Brittany. But if there was a magic wand and said there's one AI tool that would solve something that is a big pain point for you today, what would that
Mm-hmm.
be?
Oh, yeah, it would be onboarding for sure. Someone new
So
comes to us. We're able to quickly get them fully into our platform. They don't have to do much of anything. Oh, that would be incredible.
that would be the holy grail, so to speak.
Yeah.
No, I think I knew the answer to that question, like I said.
So if you could
um,
create that, that would be great. Thanks.
yep, yep. We'll speak to you about that after the recording, Brittany. No, listen, it's been super exciting to have you on board. I know we've talked a lot of shop, but I think it's also been very interesting to see how you've kind of gotten into the industry, and 10 years on, you still love what you're doing, which is a great sign.
Yes.
But tell me, outside work, what is it that you love to do?
Ooh,
Anything that
yeah.
you're
Well,
passionate about?
personally, travel is definitely one of my biggest passions. I love what I do, but I also use every day of PTO that I have because I feel like there's just so much of the world out there that I haven't seen yet. So I love taking trips. I enjoy being in nature. I've got two of my girlfriends from college. We do a national parks trip every year. So being active in nature, traveling, those are for sure some of my favorite things outside of financial advising.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And thanks again for joining us today,
Yeah.
Brittany. And
Thanks so
I'm
much
sure
for
we'll
having
catch up.
me. This has been a blast.
Awesome. Thank you.